Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I am back with a video of something I posted a year ago. So over a year ago, I went from being vegan for 7 years to not being vegan anymore. And I wanted to do a little update on how everything is going and what changes I made and what I'm sticking to and what I'm not sticking to. So just to do a little background on why I was vegan and then why I stopped being vegan. I started being vegan, I think when I was like 21 years old. I was already eating vegetarian at the time, and then I decided to start being vegan. There was a lot of people vegan that I knew in my friend group at the time, and I really felt like that was a good idea for my health. And I always cared about animals, but that was originally not like the reason why I quit eating meat or why I started being vegan. I was modeling at the time, and most of the time vegan food doesn't contain as much fat and calories, so also eating vegan is in a lot of ways easier way to get skinnier. At least at the time there was not much vegan food out there. Like there was like barely any vegan processed foods out there. There was no vegan cheeses, you know. Like when I really at the very start of it, I was also living in the Netherlands, which was like not a vegan country at all at the time. Now there's actually a lot of vegan stuff there, but at the time when I started being vegan, that was not the case. So I actually felt really good being vegan. In the beginning, I feel like the first few years I really felt good. I had energy, I didn't have a lot of stomach pains that I used to have, and yeah, it was great until I moved to the US, and then I started eating a lot more vegan processed foods as well. And obviously you enjoy those, because who doesn't? And I got eventually long COVID issues after having COVID for the second time. And that really gave me the worst brain fog ever. I struggled for a really long time with long COVID symptoms, and I eventually got my brain scanned by Dr. Amen. I will link it down below if you're interested in watching it. That was last year November, and my brain was underactive. And your brain being underactive can come from a lot of things, but one of them for me was really that I needed to, you know, start fish oil and to really get those healthy omega-3 fats and whatnot. And at the time I started eating fish and egg, so I suddenly started craving egg as well, and I just like didn't feel good. And so I slowly started eating meat as well at the time, and that was a really big step for me, because I always thought I would like for the rest of my life, because I already was vegan for 7 years, you know. So I didn't think that I would never not be vegan. It was really hard for me to come to terms that I was eating animal products again, because it was something I never envisioned for myself. So that came with a lot of internal struggle, and it took me a while before I actually shared about it online, because I know that a lot of my community, like online people, are vegan. People follow me for like the new vegan snacks and, you know, like eating vegan recipes and stuff. So it was really hard for me to actually share about it, and I got some nasty DMs about it, but then also a lot of people that were going through the same thing. And that's why I wanted to create this video, because I think it's really important and not talked about enough that for a lot of people long-term vegan doesn't work. And you get so much backlash from people from in the vegan community when you stop being vegan for your own health. And I just want to talk about that and normalize that it's okay if something isn't working for you. I still struggle, obviously, because like I don't want to hurt animals, but at the same time I want to feel good. So it's like, you know, pick your poison. So I do always try to eat grass fat. I like try to eat really meats that are organic, or eggs that came from like the best farm you can possibly think of, you know. So I try to do my best in those ways, and I know that that is not enough for the vegan community, but I wanted to talk about this because it is so important that it's okay to change your mind. It is okay to change things up. And I heard so many stories from people through my DMs and stuff that went through the same, that after a few years of being vegan, it just like didn't work for them anymore. And I think that that is super important to talk about, because there's just so much shame around it and judgment, and you should not be judged for choosing whatever is good for your body and whatever is good to put inside your body, because you're the one living in your body and you only have one body. So I don't think it's necessary for others to have a judgment on that. And I was still drinking oat milk. I was not really eating any dairy, and then after a couple months I started adding in dairy, and it has changed my life. I'm literally drinking coffee right now with whole milk, because a couple months ago, let's say this was September, it's now December, I started to see a pattern in whenever I would make coffee at home with oat milk, because I slowly started to add try out dairy at coffee places, because also you don't have to pay extra for that, you know. So I was like trying out, seeing like with the flavor and trying to get used to it and seeing if that was something I wanted to try or not. And I started to notice a pattern that on the days I will make coffee at home with oat milk versus getting coffee to go with dairy, how much more anxious and jittery and moody I would feel when I would drink coffee at home. Like, I started seeing this pattern. I was like, whoa, that's really crazy. That must be from the oat milk, because I really started to notice when I would make the coffee at home that I would feel really shitty. And it must be from the oat milk, because I wasn't doing anything else differently. And then I ended up actually going to New York with my mom, and one of the days I went to a coffee place I really wanted to go to, and they only served oat milk. So I drank oat milk, and the entire day my stomach was hurting. I was feeling so tired and just like not well. And the only thing I was doing different on that trip, and compared to the days before that, was switching to oat milk. So I completely, after New York, I completely ditched oat milk. I was just not doing it anymore. And there's actually been a lot of people recently that have been starting to talk about this, like on like the Glucose Goddess, for example, talks about this a lot, and like podcast episodes from like Pursuit of Wellness. And I actually had I had the owner of Masa chips on my podcast, and we were as well talking about processed foods and oat milk as well. And the foods are just becoming so processed, and it's just causing a lot of inflammation in their bodies. And I actually had my whole blood panel done as well a couple months ago. This was in May, and a lot of my levels were perfect when it comes to vitamins and stuff, but there was a lot of inflammation in my body, and that was something that I had to get down. So I actually switched to eating more gluten-free stuff and just more of a whole foods approach. But then when it comes to gluten-free, a lot is so processed, and sometimes like taking out stuff and replacing it with something else is not always beneficial for your body. For example, there's a lot of gluten-free breads that has a lot of starch in it, and that just like spikes your blood glucose levels so much as well. So it's like, it's really hard. I try to now stick more with the basics. Like, if I now want to eat bread, I don't really eat bread at all, but when I do, I try to aim for sourdough, because it makes me feel better than when I eat gluten-free bread. So with that being said, I think a lot of things you have to really try and see how you feel after. If you feel immediately bloated, if you feel nauseous, if you feel extremely tired, you know that that food is not serving you. Whenever that's being vegan, eating meat, whatever it is. But yeah, eating meat has changed my life. Like, I've never seen the amount of muscles I have now, even though I'm doing the exact same workouts as I did before. I have a lot more energy. I don't have that 4 p.m. crash anymore. There was really a time, even before I got long COVID, that I just felt the need to nap every day. I don't have that. I wake up every morning with excitement and ready for the day, and just, it has served me so well, and I feel so aligned and so in tune with my body. And I just wanted to say that, like, if you are vegan and you're starting to have doubts about if it's serving you and your body, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay not to tell anyone and to try things out. Just figure it out for yourself first and what is best for your body, because this is different for everyone. A lot of vegan food can also really affect your hormones, and a lot, especially like the processed vegan foods I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm just going back to like the basics, and I take Armagh colostrum. I try to use beef tallow for fats. I buy butter that's actually whole butter from Europe, and not just like some buttery spread that has like mixed all different bad stuff in it. I eat Masa chips, which is amazing because it's fried in beef tallow, and I eat steak now. Like, it's crazy how much I have changed over the last year, and it's okay to change. We're all human and we're supposed to evolve and try things out. And I think it's kind of bullshit, honestly, that so many people judge others for what they put into their bodies, because first of all, you're the only one in this body, at least I hope so. And secondly, you know your body best, and you know what makes you feel good and doesn't. And someone else being judgmental about that while they also claim to be compassionate, I think is so wrong. I think that is a huge bummer when it comes to vegan community, that they're not open for people their opinions, and not open for people their experiences, their actual human experiences. But I also understand it, because I used to be on the other side. I used to not understand people that were not vegan. I used to, you know, maybe even at some point judge people for not being vegan when I was vegan. And I think me turning this all around now to more whole foods diet and eating meat again has really made me so much more compassionate, and understanding and realizing that everyone is going through their own journey, and you know your body best. You know what feels off, you know when something works for you or not, and it's all about trying things out and just figure out what works best for you. And for me, going back to the basics and just eat less processed foods and eating meat again has been amazing. And it's funny how I now feel like I can talk about this for hours, when literally a year ago I was ashamed to talk about this. But I have just been feeling this urge to talk about it, because I don't want other people to feel judged. I don't want other people to feel how I felt, because I felt so like I couldn't be myself. I couldn't, you know, I was judging myself. I felt ashamed. I didn't want other people to know that I was starting to eat meat. And it's just ridiculous that we as a society put so much pressure on food and how we see people, when everyone is doing what's best for them. And I heard so many stories, like I said before, I heard so many stories from people that went through the same. Some were vegan for over 10 years, some were vegan for 2 years, and just started not feeling good, and it's okay. I don't think it's right for other people to judge what you eat, and that's why I wanted to make this video. And yeah, so some of my favorite snacks now, not being vegan anymore, some things that I really missed being vegan, I think is also maybe fun to mention. So first of all, I absolutely love colostrum. I will never go back. I think dairy is really great. I used to enjoy eating cheese so much with my dad, because I am from Europe, and my dad and I would always eat all these Dutch and French cheeses and really enjoy it. And I feel like that aspect too, like I enjoy going out for dinner so much more. And I'm also way more full. I feel like when I was eating vegan, I was just never really full and satisfied. So I feel like I was eating a lot more than I am now. Now when I eat protein, I get so full that I don't eat as much. Eating vegan, I was eating a lot of carbs, a lot, like everything, and everything felt just so empty, and like I didn't feel satisfied, and my body didn't feel fulfilled. And now with eating protein, I am. So I'm snacking less, I'm eating less. My cravings are different, and I just enjoy going out for dinner so much more. You don't have to constantly worry if there's something you can eat. I had a conversation with someone I know that was vegan and ended up eating eggs and everything again, And I remember her posting on Instagram that she was like, she was somewhere eating eggs and it looked really great, and I was still vegan at the time, and I responded like, you know, how was that transition for you? And she made this really good comment that was, so for example, you go to a restaurant, right, and there's like a couple things on the menu, and one of the things is like a salad, but it has egg in it, like the dressing, everything has egg in it, so you want to avoid that automatically because you're vegan and you don't want to eat egg. So then you end up like ordering fries that is fried in canola oil, and like for your body it's so much better from a health aspect to eat that salad with the egg, with a little bit of egg, instead of like going for the fries. And I think that that was a really eye-opening comment for me as well at the time. And I wasn't eating, I was still eating vegan at the time, but it is just so true. Like if you're vegan for your health aspect, I think in a lot of ways now with the amount of processed vegan food that's out there, it's really good to really use your judgment and read the ingredients list and really make good decisions. And the same with going out for dinner, like maybe just go to a different place, but it's sometimes hard when you're vegan. Like I know being in places where there was no vegan food around, like Joshua Tree and whatnot, and just like struggling really hard to find something to eat. So then you would just like settle on whatever, and that doesn't always serve your body either, for like standpoints of like inflammation and stuff, you know. So it really depends where you are on your health journey and your diet, but I just wanted to share my point of view and how I've been doing and feeling. And if you are in the same boat or you feel like this, then, you know, at least I hope this brings you comfort, because I felt like I did not have anything a year ago when I went through this transition, and I felt a lot of shame. So I hope that if you are confused, that you don't judge yourself and that you just try things out for yourself. And you can always tell yourself you can go back. Like you can try out eating meat again, see how it makes you feel for a while, and if it doesn't make you feel good, then you can always go back. Like I think we need to stop being so judgmental on the choices we make, and we always as a humans evolve, and you can change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind on anything at any given time. And I hate that we live in this like moment where you just like, if you have said something one day, that you have to stick with that for the rest of your life, because that is just not what humans do, and humans grow at all the time. And I think we should always have an open mind for people to grow and be on their journey. So yeah, that was it for me. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about my journey, and I hope you have a really good day.